Oh man, this quarantine thing almost got me crazy. Like, can you believe it? I cut my own hair. What's up everyone, I'm Joe. If you're new here, I make photography and videography content, and if you're not, you've obviously noticed that I got a haircut, and I hope you like it. Tell me in the comments if you like it. And on your way down there, just, maybe leave a like on this video, it helps a lot, and I'd appreciate it. So today we're gonna dive deep into how to light a scene, how to use lighting, and make sure to stick to the end of the video because I have a bonus for you guys. It's something really related to lighting and it's important for everyone, and you're really gonna love it. It's something, I'll keep it a surprise. You'll see at the end of the video. So I'll be talking about everything there is to lighting, how you can light a scene, how you can light a subject in both video and photo. You have to understand first that light is a very important element in shooting a photo and taking a frame, and without it you're probably an unarmed man going to war. And we want to go to war fully armed, knowing everything. You want to know your weapons really well. You don't want to be a stupid soldier who gets killed instantly in the middle of the battlefield. I don't know, why did I pick this specific example? I could have picked anything else. Anyways, I'm gonna talk about the main things and then I'm gonna show you some examples. Then we're gonna apply them to a scene and to a portrait, to a subject. So let's get down to basics. You want to take a shot, you want to shoot a photo, or you want to shoot a video. There are three main lights that you have to know. The key light, which I have one right there. It's projected right to my face. It lights up the subject very well. You have a backlight. I have one right there. You can see there's like a streak. I have a colored backlight. It just gives some definition to the scene. There's a fill light. In this case, I have a window right there. I'm putting a soft sheet so it softens the light. So using those three lights will give you a richer set. But you can do one thing and experiment with the three. You can remove one, you can remove two and keep one. Usually they remove the backlight and the fill light. They keep the key light. It's for a more dramatic look. And those are the three main lights that you want to take into consideration when you want to light your subject next time or your scene. One thing I want to mention, they do apply to portraits and to subjects, to shooting subjects. You can twist things around and apply them to a scene. It's a whole different process, but you'll be still using those three types of lights, but they'll be positioned differently and you'll see why and how later on in the video. So next time someone asks you how you can light up a scene, just have in mind those three lights and explain to them and apply them. We'll apply them later in the video. Now let's see how you can position these lights. There are certain names for how you can position these lights, and of course a scene is not fixed. There's no specific place for a light to be placed in, but there are preferable places that you can locate your lights in, and there are some names for them and the others are just an artistic view. Usually the key light is moved a lot in scenes, so there's an axis that we call a semi-spherical axis that you position your light in. Basically, just imagine a dome in front of you and you can position this light in any way you want as long as it sticks on the axis of this dome. You can never put the key light behind you unless it's for something artistic. For example, you want to get a silhouette look. It's, those are specifications that you want to take into consideration that do not apply to lighting a scene. Those might come in a natural condition. For example, a sunset could get you a silhouette, it could get you a dramatic look. So, we're talking more about how you create light in your scene. And most of the times in the spherical axis, the light could be positioned right above you on the left side or the right side. And in some interviews, for example, or in most beauty shots, lighting conditions, the light is positioned at a 45-degree angle to your subject. It could be a bit higher than his face. This is called a Rembrandt lighting. It makes your subject more volumetric. It pops out from the frame a lot more. It gives volume and depth to your shot. And so make sure you experiment with the lighting positions. Basically the backlight and the fill light don't really matter. They're just positioned randomly just to give an artistic look to the shot, so it's up to you to where you position them. I forgot to mention that fill lights could be additional. You can have really nothing for a fill light. It can be just a dramatic shot. You could put a reflector on the opposite side of the key light just to give it a more fill. For example, let me show you something. You can bring a white foam board, a white cardboard, a paper, anything white, maybe a white wall. It'll just bounce the light back right to your face. So that's with and that's without. So yeah, it gives a really big difference, and it might define the emotion or the feeling of the shot that you want to elaborate. So it's up to you whether you want to put a reflector or not. Now let's talk about how you want your light to be projected. You want it soft or you want it hard. So if you want to give a beautiful soft light that will soften the shadows, that won't give harsh lines on the opposite side of the subject, you're going to use a softbox right in front of your light, of your key light to be specific. Like in this case, for example, if I put my hand right in front of my face, you'll see that it's a soft shadow, it's not a hard shadow, opposed to if you remove the softbox and you put a hard light without any softbox or diffuser, you just get some hard shadows. You'll see, like, there's my finger right there. It gets a hard shadow on your face or on the subject that you want to shoot. So it depends as well to the emotion that you want to elaborate to the shot. Most of the times when shooting portraits for video or for photo, we use soft boxes. It will scatter the light on the face of the subject and will give a soft look to obtain beauty shots for the subject that you're shooting, and mostly that's used in an enclosed studio set. You can use hard lighting as well. For example, if you're outside on a bright sunny day, no clouds, the sun is just like right hitting the face of the subject, it gives that a line on the other side of his face, which is it could be used for some things, but I don't recommend it. But opposed to a cloudy day, the clouds take the role of a softbox, so it softens the light. That's why some photographers prefer to shoot portraits, outdoor portraits, during a cloudy day. You can try it for yourself. So whenever there's a cloudy day, just go outside and experiment with the light, with the lighting condition that you're getting, and it's always up to you. So whatever mood you want to get, just experiment with it. And I'd suggest that you try them with multiple cameras, for example your phone and your camera, so you can see the difference in the dynamic range of the camera that you're using. If you're asking what is dynamic range, I'm gonna do a totally different video about it, but I'll tell you really quick. It's basically the capacity of your sensor, of how much it captures dark areas and bright areas, the detail in the dark areas and the bright areas. So the higher the dynamic range, the better. The lower the dynamic range, the crappier an image you get. So that was just quick little information for you guys. And finally, let's talk about color temperature before getting into the examples. So understanding the color temperature of your light is really important so that your shot is colored very well. So there's a spectrum of the color temperature. I'll put it right here. So this is the spectrum of the color temperature. The warmer it gets, the lower the Kelvin number it becomes. So the Kelvin is the unit of color temperature you use to measure the color temperature of the light, obviously. So the lower it gets, the warmer the shot becomes. The higher it gets, the cooler the shot becomes. And I'll definitely make a separate video about color temperature because it's such a wide subject that we can talk about. And in general, we use two different color temperatures for two different lights. So there's tungsten, which comes at 3200 Kelvin and it's warm. The tungsten is the orange yellowish look that you can give to a shot. So if you want to make your shot look warm, you use a tungsten light. You can also find them as light bulbs. You don't really have to buy expensive lights, and they're already tagged as tungsten, so you can get as many bulbs as you want for a really cheap price. And for the balanced color in between the cold and the warm color temperature, it's called daylight. It's basically the sun. Unfortunately, you can't buy light bulbs that come in daylight. You can buy cold LED light bulbs, and you just have to set up the white balance of your camera. But I'd suggest that you invest in some lighting, some daylight lighting. It comes at 5600 Kelvin. So try to use both lights, mix them up, see how you can get a contrast in your shot with colors using the lights. And yeah, so that's it for all the things that you might want to know about lighting. And now let's position them in some certain cool setups. Okay, so for the first example, we have a subject as a portrait type of scene. The camera I'm using is a Nikon D5600 with a 50mm 1.8 and a flat picture profile. We'll position the key light to extrude the personality from the subject. Right now it is placed at a 45-degree angle. It is known as a standard position for the light in front of any subject. By using a softbox, we can scatter the light onto the subject to reduce harsh shadows and add definition to the eyes. Now let's bring something to reflect the light. I have a white canvas, but you can use any white surface or dimmable light. Reflectors will bounce the light back at the dark areas and fill them, so make sure you place it facing the key light. Using them will give you a dream look to the subject's eyes, but if you use fill lights, you won't be able to achieve this effect properly. The dreamy eyes effect can be used for showing flashbacks, and for photography, they will enhance the beauty in your subject's eyes. You might also place the reflector or the fill lights below the subject, which will result in some beauty streaks. And this is the basic light position that you might always use, but if we want to highlight the character in our subject, we will have to move the light to different positions so we can get what we need. Let's put it above the subject. No, I mean actually above. Yeah, there we go. So if we place the light right above the subject, we will get shadows under his eyes and neck, and those we call raccoon eyes. In films, they're used to show the mysterious personality hidden in the character. It could be menacing, for example. And in photography, positioning the light right above the subject will make him look less fat, so use it to your own advantage. Now for positioning the light to the side, will give contrast to the subject. Use it to show a bipolar, dark-sided character, or characters that have totally different choices during their storyline. We rarely use reflectors in this condition. Instead, we use a different light with a different color for aesthetics. I don't have another light at the moment, but here's an example photo. Now compared to photography, you might be using a reflector most of the times for better details. Now if we put the light back there, we can create an edge light. In films, we use this light to separate the character from the environment, so it's representing an unreliable personality. Just a small notice, the spherical axis dome can be moved depending on your scene. That's why I'm moving the key light behind me. And for the last position, placing the light behind the subject is called silhouette. We use this technique to hide the personality of the character, or it can be very different and define a wise personality in the character. And that's all for portrait lighting. For this setup, I'm also using my Nikon D5600 with a different lens this time. The kit lens on a 24mm focal. We'll be lighting a bedroom scene. Now we'll be applying the color temperatures and the types of shadows in this scene. In a white shot, consider placing foreground objects, and if they do light up, it's a plus. You can add practical lighting, which will give life to your scene, and with close-ups you can get cool bokeh lights. I tend to have battery-powered LEDs that I bought from an outlet shop for a cheap price, and to be honest, I use them a lot. Now we shouldn't apply the 3-point lighting setup to a scene as we don't have a specific subject, so think of it as those lights were part of the electricity in this environment. You might be applying the 3-point principle if we have a medium shot of the subject in the scene. In some cases, the window could act as a key light. So if you have access to windows, you should definitely use them. We can add an accent light. Basically, those are colored lights. You'll be able to divide your scene and decoration into parts as if there's importance to the scenery around the character. By the way, should I record anything in this setup? You can tell me in the comments below. I kinda like this angle, so tell me your opinions. Now, if we want to replicate a scene at night, we'll cut the light from the windows this time. We will have to focus on the subject this time, so we can apply the 3-point light rule only if we're framing a medium shot and closer. And lighting 101, check. So remember I told you about something extra at the end of the video? I'm gonna show you how you can take a perfect selfie with only 3 steps. Quick side note, please ignore the back of my head. I mean, I tried to cut my hair, but I don't know how or why did I leave it like that. Okay, anyways, we'll be using the window for natural light, and since we are taking a selfie, it's really similar to a portrait, so we can definitely match the window to a key light. Now find the angle where you feel your face looks decent depending on the direction of the light. Step 1. Find a background. I'll be using my closet. No, don't do that. But feel free to use anything you want. It can be a hollow space as well. Step 2, keep your camera to eye level. You might not know how crucial eye level can be. It can be so intimate to the viewers. Step 3, look at the camera and not the screen. The camera, not at the screen. This small tweak will help you project your personality just by looking through the lens. Now off to some color adjustments and voila, here's the final result. And that's everything you want to know about how you can light a scene, how you use your lights. If you enjoyed, please leave a like on this video, it helps me a lot. If you like photography, filmmaking, art, you can subscribe to my channel. I post those types of content. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.